Hey everyone, so today is our seventh week of class, and we are going to continue the lesson that we had tackled last week about the subject fundamentals of accountancy, business, and management too. And now our topic will be all about solvency ratios. So when you say solvency ratios, this is known as the stability ratios, or a group of financial ratios that measure the ability of a business to settle its financial obligation when they mature and to remain still financially stable. Next one is the different ratios under this category also reflect the extent to which a firm utilizes debt financing. Hence, they are also called the financial leverage ratio. So we have here the concept of leverage, or an act of increasing from current status. So this is divided into two. So the first one is we have the operating leverage. So this affects the short-term investment and non-current assets of an entity, or the left-hand side of the statement of financial position. And also we have the second one, the financial leverage. So this is primarily affects the right-hand side of the statement of financial position, or the short-term debt or the long-term debt, or the owner's equity. Next is we have here the different common types of solvency ratios. So the first one is we have the debt ratio. So this measures the proportion of funds provided by creditors on the total resources of the business. So the debt ratio formula is total liabilities over the total assets. And so for since 2016, FEDA is it FEDAS that we had discussed last week? So the merchandising was heavily financed by creditors. So in 2016, we have the 81.6% of the assets was already financed by the creditors. So this went slightly higher in 2017 as that ratio was 91.6%. So this is not a good sign as the company heavily sourced its financing from creditors. Second one, or the second ratio is we call it the equity ratio. So this measures the percentage of total assets financed by the owner's investment. So it measures the extent of total assets owned by the owner. So the formula for equity ratio is total equity over the total assets. So the merchandising equity ratio is 18.4% for 2016, then went down further to 8.4% in 2017. So these rates are critically low for the company as this indicate dependence on creditors for sources of funds. Then the third is we have the debt to equity ratio, so otherwise known as the financial leverage ratio. So this measures the financing provided by the creditors against those provided by the owner. So this measures the extent of the borrowed funds as compared to the investment of the owner. So the formula for debt to equity ratio is total liabilities over the total equity. And also, the debt to equity is increasing through the years. So as what we have observed on our 2016-2017 debt to equity ratio. So it showed slightly higher ratio that for every 1 peso financed by the owner, we have 4 pesos and 40 centavos was financed by the creditors. So during 2017. So the creditors heavily funded the assets of the company that for every 1 peso funded by the owner, the creditors funded 10 pesos and 90 centavos. So this is unfavorable since the company will definitely pay huge interest for the use of creditor funds in the business. So the fourth one is we have the times interest earned. So this measures the company's ability to pay this is the ability to pay the interest charged to the company for its outstanding liabilities. So it measures the number of times operating income can cover interest expense. So the formula for times interest earned is income before interest and taxes over or divided by the interest expense. So the merchandising interest is 8.1 times of its income before interest and taxes in 2016 and 3.2 times in 2017. So the decrease in number of times may be due to increasing interest payments from large amounts of loans. Next is we have the profitability ratios. So this measures a company's overall efficiency and performance based on its ability to generate profit from operations relative to its available assets and resources. So next is we have the common types of profitability ratio. So the first one is we have the gross profit ratio. So this is otherwise called as the gross margin ratio. So this measures the percentage of peso sales earned after deducting costs of goods sold. So for the formula of gross profit ratio is gross profit over the net sales. So the merchandising here gross profit was 52.2% in 2016 and went silently higher in 2017 at 53.4%. So the gross profit margin for 2 years was not bad as the markup was more than 50%, which will use to absorb the operating expenses. The second is we have the operating profit ratio. So this measures the percentage of income earned after deducting the cost of sales and the operating expenses. So in short, it is the income earned per peso of net sales after the cost of inventory and the related operating expenses are deducted. So the formula for operating profit margin is operating income divided by the net sales. So for the operating margin, has a downward trend. So from 14.2% in 2016, it went down to 13.2 in 2017. So this indicates that the company is not efficiently managing its expenses. 3. Next is we have the net profit margin. So otherwise known as the return on sales. So this measures the percentage of net income earned from net sales after all other income has been added and all operating expenses and other expenses including income taxes had been paid. So for net profit margin, the formula for this is net income divided by the net sales. So as you can see, the net profit margin continued to decrease even year from 2016 to 2017. So from 8.7% sa 2016, it went down to 6.4% in 2017. So management should exert effort to increase sales and cut on expenses if they want to improve the net income for future operations. Fourth is we have the return on assets. So this is also called the return on investment. So this measures the company's efficiency in using its level of investment in assets in order to generate income. So the formula for return on assets is net income divided by the average total of assets. And then on getting the average of the total assets, you have to divide assets at beginning of the year plus the assets at ending of the year, divide it by 2 for you to get the average total of assets. So as you can see for 2016 and 17 return on assets, so the return on assets was 12.4% in 2016. So this decreased to 7.4% in 2017. Despite heavy acquisitions of property, plant, and equipment in 2017, this means that the company assets were not fully utilized to generate income. Next is we have the qualitative factors in financial statement analysis. So the one is we have the customers. So customer is one of the qualitative factors in financial statement analysis. So when say customers, some companies have multitude of customers, a source of income, which is healthy as the loss of one or two customers will not have an impact on company sales. The second one is we have the competitors. So the company's competitors may dictate the price of the product in the industry. Thus, in pricing its products, not only are the costs of producing, so the product considered, but the prices of the competitors' products also. The third one is we have the market share. So the market share can determine the leaders in the industry. And then we have the fourth one, the industry growth. So industry growth is one important factor to consider because A growing industry means more customers. And then the last one is we have the supplier. So supplier, the presence of many suppliers will cause the prices to drop as there are many competitors. However, the presence of few suppliers may cause these suppliers to dictate the prices, especially during times of shortage of supplies. So that ends our lesson for today, and please do answer the activities uploaded on your LMS. So that could be all for this week, and goodbye.